Now, a very recent development. Recently, globally, we've seen this trend where people who are experts in communicable diseases suddenly, because they think they are experts in everything related to it, suddenly they start trespassing into aerosol scientists' territories. We call it epistemic trespassing. And, no better epistemic trespassers than billionaires, I guess, who have nothing better to do. Fact or myth? Can antidepressants cause suicide? The truth is, it's more complicated than a 280 character tweet. You can't do that, okay? I mean, we're healthcare professionals. We have to be more nuanced. That's just how it is. And the challenge will be in clinical practice how to translate that nuance into 280 characters. Because who has the time to go through this entire YouTube video, right? Not many people. So, what's the truth? First of all, when you look at the black box warning, based on the FDA data, the significance was only found for those aged 24 and below. If you're 25 and above, generally no difference between that and placebo. Okay, so those 25 and above, it's not really a concern. You also have to remember that depression itself, even without meds, untreated depression carries a 20% risk of suicide. And kahit sabihin mo, sige, fine, what if I give psychotherapy lang na walang meds? First of all, mahal ang therapy. Therapy is expensive in the Philippines. Very expensive. And even if you could afford it, there have been case series that have shown that even with drug-free psychotherapy, people can still experience suicide. So am I gonna say that I shouldn't do therapy because this study showed that therapy can cause suicide? Obviously not. Obviously not. Again, it's really always a balancing of the benefits and the risks. How risky is the risk exactly? If you look at the percentages in the meta-analysis, about 0.07, 0.09%, that translates to roughly less than 1 in 1,000. Roughly less than that. It's like out of 1,000 people on antidepressants, less than 1 in 1,000. And these don't necessarily translate into suicide attempts. So personally, I have had thoughts of suicide throughout the pandemic, but in the past, I've had meds, and currently I still do a lot of therapy, get support, and I've been able to cope somehow. Just because a person has suicidal ideation doesn't mean they will automatically attempt. You can't really predict that. It's like a spectrum from 1 to 100, and that changes throughout the minutes of the day. As in, the literal minutes, magbabago yan. Okay. Does it mean that we become lax? No naman. No naman. Especially if you're 24 and below, we definitely should monitor. But that doesn't mean we withhold antidepressant treatment anymore. In fact, there have been observational studies that have shown that this FDA black box warning, when it resulted to a decrease in antidepressant prescriptions, this was correlated with an increase in suicides around that period, actually. So withholding of potentially efficacious treatment can in itself be harm, or can itself be the risk. So ultimately, as health professionals, we go back to that safe answer na it depends, right? It depends. It depends. Yeah. Pero, again, that's where our clinical judgment will come in. Generally, for antidepressants, the benefits will outweigh the risks.